Hello there, welcome to the Media Coach Monday tip. Today, storytelling. I want to tell you a story. Yes, storytelling, really very important. A lot of speakers talk about storytelling as the most important thing because it is. We respond to stories, we've always listened to stories from when we were very small. But when you tell stories, there are different ways you can do it. I mean, there is the classic hero's journey, where you have the protagonist, the problem, and then the pot of gold, the solution, which ends up transforming the protagonist, and that's the point of the story, what we used to call the Aesop of the story. But there are other types of stories as well. There are stories which have ups and downs. There are stories that reach a crescendo and then drop back to a slightly darker place. There are all sorts of ways that you can tell stories. I would urge you to look at films, to watch TV shows, to read books, and to think about how the story is being structured. And when you create your own stories for use in your speeches, think about how you can put a story together. Think about who the hero is. It may not be you. Think about what the problem is. Think about how the problem is overcome and what lesson is delivered as a result. And not everything is a good story. Sometimes things just happen and, well, they just happen. They don't necessarily turn into stories. You need to craft a story, and sometimes you need to bring in elements from a couple of stories and put them together. That's okay. It's not subterfuge to do that. You're allowed to put together the essential elements, sometimes even to enhance the dialogue slightly. You can't make things up, and you should never ever tell anybody else's story. But it's very, very important that you make the story interesting. You make it engaging and entertaining. I always carry a story file, well, a notebook really, that turns into a story file, and wherever I go, if I see something, I jot it down. The most important thing about all of this is that I jot down how I feel at the time. It's the feelings that you have which will be translated into emotions in front of an audience. So don't just jot down the facts, jot down what happens. You're not a person collecting evidence. You're not like the police taking notes. You're somebody who wants to know how you felt and how you think other people felt at the time. That's very important in storytelling. There are probably about 7 different types of stories. I don't have time to go into them now, but I tell you what, I'm running a storytelling masterclass at the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane, on the 18th of October. If you're interested in coming along to that, there'll be a link either in the email, if you got this video in an email, or if you're watching it on Facebook, it's down there in the comments below, or maybe even up there in the comment above. Anyway, it'll be somewhere around. If you're interested in coming along, click on that link and take a look. But regardless of that, I would urge you to write down your stories and write down how you're feeling at the time. That's the important thing, because that's the message you want to translate to your audience. I wish you the very best of luck with your storytelling.